Hi, this is Joan, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful day. The reason why this picture is up, and it is from a guy named Rob Repent. I was looking at some of his videos today, and I wanted to make sure that I give him credit for this picture. But I've also been listening to another guy by the name of Franchise Pearson, and Franchise has been deciphering different things based on colors and numbers and such. And looking at this picture made me think that this picture is saying a lot. Now, some of you, as Rob Repent stated in his video, some of you have already heard about Aleister Crowley. Some of you haven't. He was a man who called himself the wickedest man in the world, and I think that he might have even called himself the Beast. But in any case, he got kicked out of, I think, England or Europe. He was, he believed in, he was, he believed in everything that went against God's laws. So he was into, well, things that I don't want to say on YouTube. But just think about the Ten Commandments and then think about doing everything against them. And you pretty much have Aleister Crowley. Now, the thing is, a lot of people in today's times are honoring him. And people just look at the t shirts and things and think they're meaningless. But they aren't. They're showing your allegiance. And here you have Barack Obama, former president, who a lot of people really pledged allegiance to almost. I think I do remember Jamie Foxx saying something very similar to that, that he pledged allegiance not to the Most High, uh, but not even to patriotism, but to specifically Barack Obama. But in any case, the thing is that here you have the former president, excuse me, and you could interpret this picture as him pledging a type of allegiance to, or saying that he is associated with Aleister Crowley. Now, you probably have heard a lot of people when Obama was president were saying that they thought that he was the Antichrist or the beast. So, him wearing that t-shirt, I think, is kind of strange. Now, if you listen to Franchise Pearson, and I do think you should, I think he's very, very interesting. And also this guy here, Robert Penn, I'm not trying to say that he's not very interesting because I'm using his picture and his videos are very interesting. But I'm thinking about the migrant issue. Now, a lot of people in Chicago are complaining about the things, and that's also on Franchise Pearson, about how they have invited all of these migrants into the country. I'm speaking with Franchise Pearson, and this particular example I'm giving is in Chicago, because there you have on one side of the street homeless people who are mostly black living in tents. And then on the other side of the street, you have these migrants who have been given some of the choicest hotels, and your tax dollars are paying for a lot of what they have been given. And if you go further south in Chicago, you'll come to the school that and this is, I think, the South Shore area. I think it's the Woodlawn, somewhere around that area. Well, a school that the residents requested to be used since they closed it for like a community center for the youth in the community. They wouldn't do that, but instead now they filled it with migrants. Now, I had thought it was odd about 4 or 5 years ago that they were putting, at that time, they were separating the children, the migrant children from the parents, and they were putting the children in different facilities. These are Spanish speaking children, but they were putting them in black communities. Now I remember thinking back then, wouldn't it make more sense to put them in Spanish speaking communities? But no, for whatever reason, they were putting them in black communities. Now that they have pretty much gotten rid of the border, they are housing these Hispanic people, um, and I think some Asian people. They're housing them in black communities. The major problem is that they are they are it has been reported allegedly that these migrants are now um, fighting with or attacking the residents who were already there. So back to the picture, I think that according to Franchot Pearson, okay, he says if you see a picture with black and white, it could mean that the person is playing both sides. They're playing good and evil. But if you notice here, you've got gray and black. So I think that, okay, gray is a mixture of black and white. So this person, yeah, they might be playing both sides, but they're basically leaning a little bit more toward the dark side. And you had the child dressed in the same manner. However, you see a flag, U.S. flag. I kind of think, and as far as I can tell, now I don't know, but the child looks like he could be Hispanic. You could interpret that as we are giving the country to the Hispanics. Now, I remember maybe about 20, 30 years ago when Hispanics were saying, well, this country is ours, at least Texas and parts like that, they were ours and you took it from us and we want it back. That was a big marching cry for a while, then it kind of died down. So I think that this picture is saying a lot, and I think that it's kind of frightening that you have a former leader of the of North America who is openly wearing an Aleister Crowley t-shirt, and that at this time we're having this migrant crisis. And one of the things that Aleister Crowley advocated was, of course, um, well, um, it's, I'm pausing because I want to make sure I don't say anything that might get me kicked off or something. Not that I'm really ever on all that much, but he advocated romantic relationships with children. So him wearing that T-shirt and hugging a child who's wearing an American flag, it can be interpreted as a little bit on the disturbing side. And also in this picture, you'll notice the thing about time. Now, I can't really see exactly what time that is, but it looks like it might be 5:35 or something like that. Um, Also, AC 2012, are you telling us that something started in 2012? I'm not even going to get into that, but I do think there's an emphasis on time and that you have the clock here and you have him wearing a watch here. So, in any case, my major thing with this picture is the fact that so many people were crying, not crying, but were discussing that they thought that Barack Obama might have been, or, back then, might have been the Antichrist. And right now we're having this migrant issue that is affecting African Americans. And another thing that it brings to mind is the movie, They Cloned Tyrone. Now, that movie to me had so many facets and details, like the movie Get Out, that I kind of wonder if it wasn't written by artificial intelligence, even because there's so many things that are going on behind our backs and in front of our faces at the same time. You herald people and say, oh, you're such a genius, but where is that genius coming from? Because it can only come from one of two sources, the most high, the most low. So that's not to say that I didn't like the movie. I thought it was really, really interesting. Now, parts of it were like, yeah, that what? That doesn't even make sense. But I think that it is kind of something in between the real world and the dream world. But the reason why I was bringing it up, because the numbers are always really important in movies and such. And if you look at that movie, you'll see there's one scene where, and I'm not giving away any of the plot, but at least I hope not, but Tyrone at the end is walking out of a store, and the number on the address is 3104. Okay, so you could look at that and say, what does that number mean? Well, you have three and one, four, and you also already have another four. You've got 44 right there. So, and even, well, I'm not too sure about this 2012, but that was the year that everybody expected everything to fall apart because of, I think, the Mayan calendar stated that was the end. Maybe it was more of the beginning of the end. But in any case, I hope this gave you some information, something to look for. I don't know why, but I keep thinking about this open door here, that this means something. Maybe it means a portal or something. Who knows? But in any case, I'm sorry, in any case, you guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that this has any meaning? What do you think about this Aleister Crowley and the fact that he's wearing it? Also, Jay-Z wore pretty much the same thing, a t-shirt that had Aleister Crowley's favorite expression, and that was do what thou wilt. Now, that expression, you might not have heard it, or maybe you were like me. You heard it so much when you were growing up, you thought it was in the Bible. When I got old enough, I started searching for that in the Bible because, as far as I can recall, my mother said that a lot. Do what thou wilt. That should be the whole of the law. If you think about it, if you're old enough, you might remember the Isley Brothers, and they had a whole thing. It's your thing, do what you want to do. Same thing. So, you guys, this is just something to think about. Let me know what you think. And you guys have a great rest of your day.